Hello, everyone. I'm Tionni, and I'd like to welcome you to episode 40 of Two Tickets, One Theme. I'd love to introduce my wonderful husband, Jonathan.
Hi.
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 Okay, hey. We are finally back and ready to celebrate Black History Month with you all, and it is more important than ever to celebrate Black excellence these days. We just re-released our episode on the 16-time Oscar-nominated Sinners, and now we are on to one of my favorite films about Black female excellence, Hidden Figures. This movie blew me away because it was made very apparent that there are a lot of Black stories about amazing Black people that have done groundbreaking, important, and incredible things that America often does not shine a light on. And that's why Jonathan and I are shining a light on this movie and the stories of Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan today. Now we're going to do a quick rundown of facts about the movie in a segment we call Movie Trailer. Hidden Figures is a docudrama. I was going to say biopic, but I was like, I don't know if it's that either.
I mean, docudrama seems about right.
Yeah. It was released on January 6, 2017. It was directed and written by Theodore Melfi, as well as co-written by Alison Schroeder. And the book was written by Margot Lee Shetterly. I know I ended that in inflection, but keep going, Jonathan.
It is rated PG and has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 93% critics and 93% audience.
Wow, the critics and the audience agreed. It was, that makes sense.
I think we rarely see an even number.
Right. Here's a synopsis from IMDb. 3 female African-American mathematicians play a pivotal role in astronaut John Glenn's launch into orbit while dealing with racial and gender discrimination. I think that sums it right up. We get exactly what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Now it's time for a segment we call Showtime, where John and I will take you through the film scene by scene. We're going to try to do it shorter this time and not make this long-winded. If you haven't seen Hidden Figures yet, we highly recommend watching it first. It's really good. And this is your official spoiler warning. But before we jump into the plot, we're kicking things off with the facts segment. In this section, we dig up I don't know if it's wild, but we dig up the most interesting facts about the movie. Today's fact segment is called Hidden Trivia. I know that was real good, Jonathan. Came off the dome.
I was not ChatGPT.
That was just Hidden Trivia.
Hidden trivia, sure.
You don't think I could have done that? You think I needed help from
ChatGPT? Within this episode.
Okay. Jonathan, we'll start with the first fact.
Hidden Figures was nominated for 3 Oscars at the 89th Academy Awards in 2017. Best Picture, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Octavia Spencer for Best Supporting Actress.
I don't remember she won. I could have looked that up. Obviously,
I think if she won, it would have that as the fact.
No, I made that fact myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thanks for calling me out. I see that Taraji P. Henson was snubbed. She might have been nominated for a Golden Globe, but I guess she didn't get the Oscar nom. That's kind of crazy. When Taraji P. Henson signed on for the lead role, she met with Katherine Johnson, who was 98 years old at the time, to discuss the character she was about to portray. Henson learned that Johnson had graduated from high school at age 14 and from college at age 18 and was still as lucid as anyone years younger. After the film was screened for Johnson, she expressed her genuine approval of Henson's portrayal, but wondered why anybody would want to make a film about her life. And it's because she's awesome.
Right.
That's why.
I mean, it's so sweet that she was able to really get to know Katherine Johnson like that, and 98 years old. I mean, anytime someone has the ability to be able to
remember everything,
everything at 98, it's just beyond.
Probably doing calculations and everything.
Right? Yeah, I guess that also helps, right? To prevent Alzheimer's, you always have to try to learn new things and not only read but do it things physically, just do a whole bunch of different things.
Right. So I also think Katherine, it kind of gives you some insight into why Taraji played Katherine the way that she did. She didn't seem like a pushover, but she definitely seemed very ladylike, very keep it together, even in the face of injustice. It in the movie, I'm not sure, we'll get to the scene where she has that monologue where she freaks out and screams at everyone. And I wonder if that's real, because it seems like Katherine Johnson would have just been like, I know I'm great. I'm not going to overreact and give these white people what they want. That's what it
Yeah.
seems like she's like. So that's why you could
Well,
kind of see that in Taraji's portrayal from meeting her, that she seems like a very poised, classy woman.
right.
Yeah.
And we think about the movie being dramatized just
Right.
for the
And I'll
cinema.
point out some of those moments. I should
Right.
have looked if that actual monologue portion happened, but I didn't. All right, go, Jonathan.
Before presenting the award for Best Documentary Feature at the Oscars, the film stars Taraji P. Henson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe introduced Henson's counterpart, 98-year-old Katherine Johnson, to the stage where she received a standing ovation from the audience.
I do remember that moment. It was very
Yeah,
sweet.
I loved it.
Yeah. The film rights to this movie were bought while Margot Lee Shetterly was still working on the book Hidden Figures, the story of the African American women who helped win the space race. That was the source of the movie. The book itself takes place from the 1930s through the 1960s. The story chronicles the intersectional discrimination black women face, first as a woman, and then also for their race. Shetterly also served as one of the executive producers of the film as well. The term hidden figures alludes not only to the women involved, but also to extra digits in a calculation that are used to improve accuracy, but are not displayed in the final results.
Nice.
I always thought that was a cool
Like
name for
mic
the,
drop.
like whoever came to, well, obviously Shetterly came up with the name, but that was a very clever title, a play on
Yeah.
words, as we say. So I always like the name of the movie. Jonathan, should we get into this plot?
Yes, we
Let's
should.
do it. Well, it's showtime, Jonathan. Let's get
Sure
into
is.
this plot. Let's do it.
Yeah, all right, let's go. I'm
All right.
pumped.
So, Hidden Figure starts with the title card, as such these kinds of movies do. We get a boats. I like to say boats, based on true events. Ah, I messed it up. I'll leave that in. It says based on true events, not based on a true story.
Uh,
That's why I usually say boats. But then I read my note and it said based on true events. I was like, it's not boats.
I mean, well,
That's bote. Bote. All right, anyway,
you just say what boats, right?
whatever. We are introduced to a young black family in West Virginia in 1926. Sounds like a fun place to be in the 20s when you're black. We meet a little girl, a little black girl that's walking, and she's reciting numbers, picking out the prime numbers, and we don't. It to us that's like this black girl's smart. Why is she just reciting prime numbers for no reason? Um, we quickly move into another room. We meet a black administrator. He's talking to her parents. We assume that these are her parents about putting their daughter in a Negro Collegiate Institute because she's so gifted. And Jonathan, how old does this little girl look when we are introduced to her?
I mean, maybe 7 years old.
Right. And he's talking about putting her into a collegiate institute.
Right.
She is great at math, and they say she's in the sixth grade, so that means she's like 11, 12, right? You teach sixth grade, right?
What's the 7? Yeah. So yeah, she would have to be like
She looks young
10 or
though. She
11.
looks younger
She
than
looks super
11.
young.
Yeah, but they say she's in the sixth grade. Maybe she was already advanced and she was in sixth grade and she was 7. Who
Maybe.
knows? She's getting a full scholarship to this collegiate institute. Um, but the neighborhood, I guess they still have to raise money to get the family to travel and move to wherever this institute is, which I assume is in Virginia. The neighborhood loves their family so much they raise money to send young Catherine to the school. So this is Catherine Johnson that we're being introduced to. So we
It's a nice
quickly, just
story.
to quickly go over it, we see how smart she is because she's in front of this class full of teenagers and 20 somethings solving an equation that an 11-year-old should not know how to do. But my favorite part when she's doing the equation, she's like, common sense says, and I'm like, common sense for who,
Right.
Catherine? All right. We
The older,
fast
the older
forward,
the older kids should be throwing stuff at her for saying that.
right. So we fast forward like 40 years, 30 years. I'm just estimating. It goes to the present day, 1961 Virginia. Jonathan, do the math quickly. 1926 to 1961.
26 is 61. You said
Yeah.
26 to 61. Ugh, I don't feel like doing math
All
right now.
right. Nobody feels like doing that today except for Catherine. So it goes to the present day, 1961 in Virginia. We see a broken down car on the side of the road, and we meet 3 black women. We meet an older Catherine Johnson, played by Taraji P. Henson, Mary Jackson, played by Janelle Monáe, and Dorothy Vaughan, played by Octavia Spencer. Dorothy is under the hood working on repairing the car that has broken down. They're running late to work. And then we see a cop car approach the car and they all tense up because what does that mean, Jonathan? They're in the middle of Virginia, broken down, and a cop is approaching.
I mean, you always have to be very careful of how you talk to
As a black
person of
person, a
uniform.
person of color, like maybe a white man won't be worried, but a black person
Right.
would. So the cop questions why they are broken down. He's kind of rude. He's telling them this is no place to be broken down on the side of the road. And Mary's the like sassier one, the one more with like a like outspoken. And
Yeah.
she's like, "We didn't pick the place," with a
Right.
little bit of an attitude, like, "You think we wanted to be broken down on the way
You,
to work?"
you
But
dumbass.
quickly, Catherine is like, "Hey, we're on our way to work. We work at NASA." Like
Right.
trying to
Just
like, because the cop gets like, "You're getting disrespectful." Like
right.
he's like,
Having the cop forget about what just happened. And
right.
yeah, you're like we said, like I just said, like you have to be careful how you talk to this man.
Unfortunately, as black people, that's still
They're,
the
they're
case
also
today.
they're also women,
Right.
and women are also meant to always respect,
Men.
men.
So not only is respecting all men, but it's also being black and having to respect white men. So Dorothy mentions that they calculate and get rockets into space, so that makes him perk up a little bit. He's surprised that they hire black women at NASA. He talks about his distaste for the Russians. So now he like completely is forgetting that they're black. Like he hates the Russians more than he probably hates black people.
Right. He's thinking about Team America. He's like, we gotta win. We gotta get to space.
And if these black women are smart enough to do it, they're okay by me.
Right.
So anyway, so he talks about his distaste for the Russians and decides that they are worthy enough to be spoken properly. He's not rude anymore. He's relating to them as Americans, not black versus white. So only because he realizes that these women could possibly help America beat Russia in the space race, he starts treating them with respect. So Dorothy still is like, okay, so now that this cop is on our side because he's like, great, we're Team America. She goes back to the car to fix she was near fixing the car. She bypasses the starter and then it starts up and the cop is like, oh, well, you're running late to work. Like, I imagine you would like an escort to get there on time. And of course, Catherine, like I said, she doesn't like to cause any trouble. She doesn't like to mix it up, make anything weird. So she's like, no, you don't have to give us an escort. But Mary is like the firecracker. She's like, absolutely give us an escort.
So when are we gonna have another opportunity like this
Right.
where
When is a white cop going to
right,
offer to have a speed behind him to go to work? So
exactly.
Mary's like, if you're a little scary about this, Catherine and Dorothy, I'll do it. Like, I'll be more than happy to speed behind a cop. So she's like really racing to like stay behind him. So we get to NASA. We go into like a room where everybody's like talking about the space race, and we see various white men working on the space project. It's a very male dominant thing. The people in the room working on the actual getting into space are white men, and they're trying to figure out how to get their men up there safely. And it takes a lot more math. And like I mean, I think when I was a kid I realized that math was needed everywhere, and you had to really know your math when it comes to going into space. There's a lot more math involved than you really think about. So when you say you want to be an astronaut, you better be good at math because it's
Right.
not just going up into space. You got to do a lot more math.
Physics, math,
Right.
formulas, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not as fun as it looks. So we are introduced to Al Harrison, who is played by Kevin Costner. He is the head of the space program, and then we also meet Paul Stafford, who's played by Jim Parsons from.
Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, so he just loves space guys.
Right.
So
She plays such a mean person.
okay, we're gonna learn about how mean he is very soon. So I'll probably call him Stafford a lot. I don't know why. I just don't call him Paul. I guess Stafford sticks out more.
Yeah,
Um,
sure. Why not?
But they say Paul a lot in the movie. I was just like, I'm gonna say Stafford. So we see Russia accomplish orbital entry of a space rocket. They're looking at like a newsreel that's telling them like they accomplished orbital entry into the space rocket, whatever. So it's indicating that they're close to beating America in the space race. Like they're gonna get somebody up there before them. And if you know history,
Those darn Russians.
yeah, if you know history, they do beat us. But we'll get to that later. They are very frustrated because they also feel like Russia completing this accomplishment means that they're able to launch satellites into space and spy on America. So that's like the more pressing reason why they're trying to be ahead of them. So Harrison displays his frustration with everything, but specifically, it cuts quickly to other things often in this movie. we see the late arrival of the IBM machines, and we need the IBM machines are very new. I know we've heard IBM a ton our entire lives, but during this time in the 60s, they were like a brand new machine that was able to compute faster than a human being, but nobody really knew how to use them. They needed people to learn how to use them. So he's a little frustrated because they were arriving late. Nobody knows how to use them. So he's like, okay, well, I'm trying to get us into space. So I need a person who is able to do analytic geometry. So he's like, whoever he's used in the past did not meet up to the task. So he's like, I need a new mathematician computer. They call people computers in this movie. They're called computers, people who could compute equations quickly. And apparently, so far, like I said, no one in the building, at least no one white, spoiler alert, or that's not the word, foreshadow, can handle analytic geometry. So his secretary, Ruth, is having a hard time finding another one. Because the ultimate goal is to what, Jonathan? What is the ultimate goal that they're
Beat,
trying to do?
trying to beat Russia from planting a flag on the moon.
Yep, that's exactly what I wrote. I'm just kidding. Love you, Jonathan.
So,
So, so I'm glad you're following along. Good.
right. So I think about these IBM machines, right? These computers, and I'm thinking to myself like, well, this is the beginning. You're taking over.
Yeah, because I mean,
You see in this movie, you see that workers lose their jobs.
right. Yeah, they're going to replace them because they can compute things very quickly. So once somebody figures out how to use them, then that eliminates people.
Yeah,
Sounds like today. I mean,
yeah,
it's happening all the time. Every time technology is presented to us, it eliminates other people. I mean, think about every time you call somebody on the phone, customer service, how often it goes to an automated voice
that
instead of
annoys
a
me. I need
person.
to always talk to a person.
Right. I like
Anything
talking to
change.
people, but we're old. Maybe the kids are used to talking to some AI voice. Anyway, let's get back to the plot.
Right.
So Dorothy is in charge of giving all the black women at NASA their assignments. She gives all the computers which department they're going to work in. But she's not a supervisor, and we'll get to that soon. She just somehow assumed the role, maybe because she's the eldest, of like she gets the respect. Everybody listens to her. Mary gets a permanent assignment to work on the Mercury 7 prototype as a personal request from Mr. Zelensky, who's an engineer working on the actual the actual capsule.
All
He's
right.
working on the actual capsule.
All
That's
right.
the
Yeah.
Friendship 7 or the Mercury 7.
They try to make sure that that blows strong wind
I
at
can explain
the.
it later if you want.
Yeah.
It comes later.
Okay.
But Mary is super excited because she's obviously worked with this department before, so they're personally requesting her to come back. Mrs. Mitchell, who's played by Kirsten Dunst, barges into the room barking orders. She's not nice. She doesn't say hello. She just comes in like, you do this, you do that, come on. And she's specifically there asking for calculations in a computer, which I told you is a person. So she's asking for a black computer for the space task group. And Dorothy immediately recommends Catherine for the job with confidence. Like there's no hesitation. Catherine is the woman for the job. Use Catherine. And Mitchell is surprised because she's like, I actually didn't think I was gonna find anybody in this black ass room. That's basically what she's saying. Because she's like, oh, I had to come all the way down here to find somebody. I forgot what she says, but pretty much she felt like her coming all the way down there was a waste of time because if there were no white people that could do it, what are the odds that a black person would be able to do it?
Honestly, I'm surprised she even asked.
Right? They were
So
desperate.
that's
They
something.
were desperate, I guess. But it is
So
some.
yeah,
It's something, I guess, to even have black people at NASA.
yeah.
You could give a little bit of okay, at least they, hire
There,
black people, but they
there
still
were a
kept them
few
separate.
barriers. There were a few barriers that were broken down,
Right,
just some steps being taken.
right. So Dorothy takes this opportunity to run out of the room to Mrs. Mitchell to ask about a supervisor position because, like I said, she has been acting as a supervisor, so she feels like she should actually get paid as
Right.
one and be assigned as one. But Mitchell basically blows her off, says there's no supervisors for the color group. So basically, they've been fending for themselves to maintain some order because we could care less what happens over there. But if
Not a
something
problem.
fell apart, they would blame it on Dorothy, even though she's not the supervisor. Um, so Dorothy tells her that she's doing the work of the supervisor, and Mitchell says, "Well, that's the way things are. Basically, like this is NASA doesn't hire black supervisors.
To get over it.
Get over it. You're not going to get a pay bump because you're doing more work." Mary walks into the testing lab, so we're back with Mary, and she sees the Mercury 7 spaceship prototype, and she's a nerd, so she's looking at it in amazement, like, oh my god, I am looking at this capsule that is going to go into space. But the problem is, Mary's coming in a little not late. I don't think she's late to her assignment, but they've already begun a test. So they start simulating what it's going to be like for this capsule to go into space, and she's in the middle of the testing room, and she's trying to run away to get out of there, and her heel gets caught in debris,
Right.
but she leaves it behind in time to get to the observation room that's like above the testing center, looking at what's going on. They're testing. What they're testing is what Jonathan was getting at earlier, are the heat shields, and it's a disaster because the shields are flying off, and these shields are supposed to protect the astronaut inside the capsule from burning up when he's re-entering
The
the
atmosphere.
Earth's atmosphere. So this is very important. This becomes a very important thing that they're trying to figure out throughout the movie, in different departments. Like Mary's working with the engineers to figure out what kind of shields they have to put on to prevent this or to protect the astronaut. Catherine's doing the calculations to make sure that he is able to re-enter with minimal damage to the capsule. Okay, sounds very sciencey, but it all makes sense in the end. Enough for an idiot like us, for idiots like us to understand the plot. The shields fly off, so whatever test they were doing, it did not work. And then Zelensky, he's definitely a teacher. Something we're gonna come across a lot in this movie, even though I love it because it shines a light on three black, amazing black women who were very smart. It definitely there's a fine line between showing white allies because you do need the white ally for black people to progress because there's a lot of roadblocks that stops black people from being great. So there has to be an ally in another race to help you. So I'm not going to shit on any of these people. But this movie does do the trope of white savior. It's like they have to let us know that this person could not do it alone unless this white person saved them.
I mean,
So they have to do that.
we'll get into it too. To me, like it seems kind of cheesy, but it's
You mean
just
like dramatizing
yeah,
situations that never really
right,
happened?
right, and it just
Yeah.
comes out a little bit of cheesy, but still
It
something
still gets you
to
emotional, but then you're
right,
like, did that really
right,
happen?
yeah. But I don't mean to trash on the movie. I love the movie, but it's definitely we'll get into those scenes where I'm just like, all right, I guess.
So, but this one seems like I didn't look into this to see if there was somebody named Zelensky who really like believes in her. But he's a teacher. He asked her what went wrong, like what's why do you think the heat shields didn't work? And Mary tells him what needs to be done to fix it. And because she's such a bright mind, he reminds her that there's an opening in the engineer training program. And she logically tells him, like, as a Negro woman, this is the language they used back then, colored a Negro. As a Negro woman, she won't be let into the program. Like, I might as well not even let my brain go there because they're not gonna let me in. Not only am I a woman, but I'm black, so it's just not gonna happen.
So the way they did this scene, I liked it because it seemed genuine and seemed real, and I feel like that probably did happen in real life.
Right? Yeah, because she was like, "I can't do it," and he was like, he encourages her
I
anyway.
mean,
Like,
he's trying to help her.
yeah, so he asked her, like, if you were a white man, because I like this line, if you were a white man, would you wish to be an engineer? And she said, I wouldn't have to. I already be one. I was like the way she says that. So she's basically saying, like, if I were a white man, I would have already been an engineer.
He's probably like touche.
Literally, it's just because I'm a black woman that I haven't even tried
Yeah.
because they're not going to let me in. So we go back to Mitchell. She's bringing Catherine to her new assignment at the Space Task Program or the Space Task Group. She lays out the rules and the job. She's letting her know that a lot of computers have been fired and that she probably won't last long either. If all these white computers got fired, there's no chance that you are going to also succeed. So she mentions there, like, we never had a colored in this room before, so don't embarrass me. So I mean, it's little things like that that they throw in there to show you like the pressure is up times 20. Like because you're black and I brought you here as a white woman and vouched for you, you better not embarrass me. Can
Right.
you imagine always having that pressure on you at everything you do? I mean, it still happens to an extent even today, but like it was outright like
Right.
You cannot mess up even one time.
And you think about companies that don't want to hire other races, and just like it's like why? You think they're less qualified for some reason? You just
Yeah.
want to
Just
only
because they're
go.
black, they have to be a
So
little dumber.
like this is where we get to that mentality, like, oh, we have to work harder to be able to get, to have some type of, career.
Yeah.
It's just messed up.
Mm-hmm. So Catherine enters, and everyone looks on in disbelief, like, why is this black woman in our space? And it's full of white males, like I said, except for Ruth, the secretary. And it so stands out that one of the guys hands her a garbage can and just puts it in her hand and says, "Oh, they didn't dump this last night," and just put it in her hand. She's like, "I'm not the custodian." So
So stupid.
the white secretary Ruth looks up at her in surprise, like, "This is the computer they sent us? Like, this is the one that's gonna save the day?"
She
And
wasn't even
she
dressed as a custodian.
Right, exactly. It's
So
just not even
stupid.
just looking through her.
Right.
And Ruth is not friendly either. She's not like especially nasty, but she's not nice. She's just like, okay. And tells her to take a seat and keep her head down and don't expect to be acknowledged by Mr. Harrison. Now, like, that's unnecessary to say. Like, don't expect that the boss is even gonna look at you.
Although he needs her help.
Right. Like he'll give us the papers to give to you type thing.
Right.
So, who especially is unhappy to see her?
I mean,
Stafford.
Stafford, our Big Bang Theory star,
All right, Jim Parsons.
Jim
He looks at
Parsons.
her in disgust as she walks to her desk. So we already know he's going to be like the main antagonizer. Like he's just not going to like her. And then when you find out what she's in charge of doing, he's really not going to like
I
her.
mean, his character in Big Bang Theory is it's kind of I want to say
I
similar.
would say he's not
He's not
racist.
racist, but he definitely has feelings of anyone possibly being smarter than him. Not like so his like he views himself as the smartest in any room.
Right. So I mean, he was not playing against type, only that he may not have been racist in Big Bang Theory. So Harrison questions Stafford about the shingles falling off the heat shields because we are finding out that keeps happening in the engineering room. And he also asked, like, okay, where's that computer I requested? Like, we need this person yesterday. And Ruth points to Catherine, like, that's your computer. And once he realizes, he actually doesn't seem as startled. Like, you can see in his eyes, like, oh, she's black, but he's more like, I'm more concerned about how
Right.
good she is. He asks her a bunch of questions very quickly, and she answers them knowledgeably. Like, she's on top of it, doesn't hesitate, knows her stuff. So that's a good start. And he lets her know, like, I'm gonna want calculations by the end of the day, and part of your job is checking Stafford's work and others in that group. So I mean, obviously Stafford doesn't like that because he feels
Right.
like he's the smartest person in the room, and you're gonna bring this black woman to look over my work. So he's already like, no.
I mean, like the way he hands the work for her to check is the fact that it actually went through other people to they checked on it, right?
All
So
right,
he does the work, and other people are checking it. It's like why do we have to have another person check
especially
the
this
work,
person.
right?
He retorts, he's like, I don't need anyone checking my work. Harrison's like, oh, well, if you don't need your work checked, then why do the shingles keep flying off the heat shield? There's obviously something wrong with the calculations. So clearly you need help. We find out as the audience that in 14 days, the pilots are coming to NASA. Because when I say pilots, I don't know if they were considered astronauts yet. They were getting these people from like Navy pilots, Marines, stuff like that, who were willing to be the first to go into
No
space.
time nor even use the word astronaut in a
No,
movie.
I
Like,
don't think so. They must
yeah,
have not been
it's
considered
pilots.
astronauts yet, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So they're coming for training in 2 weeks. So we don't have time to be racist. We don't have time to be sexist. Like we need to get these calculations
All right.
because everything that they do in there means everything. Like their wives are going to care, America's going to care like if we kill these people because we don't have the right
I mean,
calculations.
this is such a big deal during that time. Today we don't really think about space as much as they did.
And so many
Because
people have gone.
it was right, and this is the beginning, right?
Right. That's kind of crazy when you think of it. Who's the first person who's like, I'll go up in space. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Like that sounds like a
I'm ready to risk my life to possibly be able to see Earth from another view,
just to
another
say
point
we
of view.
beat Russia.
or that, right?
Yeah, just to say we did it.
Yeah, you gotta be. You definitely have to be brave. I mean, like you're imagine being described to you what's exactly happening. Oh, we're gonna put you on a rocket and we're gonna like blast you into space.
And
We're
we're
gonna hope
hoping.
it doesn't explode, but it's gonna detach, so you'll be fine. But don't worry, when you come back, things will be totally fine. But you're gonna be rocketed back into Earth.
And we hope our calculations are
Right.
accurate enough that you don't burn up.
Yeah, yeah. We hope you don't burn to a crisp.
Or you might be dropped in the middle of nowhere. Just first of all, that's probably a guarantee. And you have
Right.
to be okay with just dropping in the middle of the ocean somewhere and
Yeah.
sinking to the bottom of
We'll
the...
find you because we'll be able to track you.
Right.
It's like, oh, sign me up. That sounds great.
But that's probably why they went for like military, because that's
Right.
like,
You have to
they're
have no
already
fear.
right. So Catherine unpacks her things as Stafford starts he starts redacting things. We've heard that term too much lately.
Oh
I
God.
know. I know. This white man starts redacting information and blacking out things and calculations in the document that he feels like Catherine should not see. But I think ultimately he's doing that because he doesn't want her to be able to check his work. It's going to be impossible for her to really cross-check things if she can't read them.
Well, I mean, later in the movie, we do see that the redaction is necessary because they're like it's
Oh
like,
yeah, I know, but he's crossing out a lot.
and we also find out that they're actually very worried about spies,
Yeah.
about Russian spies.
So he throws his papers on her desk, and it's like a thick file. And he says, "My numbers are spot on." And she's like, "Okay, well, I'm still gonna check them because I was told that was my job."
Right.
And she notices the things are redacted, and he tells her to work on what she can read. The rest is classified. You don't have clearance. So that's it. So Catherine gets up with all those papers and asks Ruth where the ladies' room is. And Ruth is like, "I have no idea where your bathroom is." So Catherine's like, "Okay, cool. Well, I know where one bathroom is, and
Right.
it's really
But
far away
there's there's definitely not one black worker working in that
on
building.
that side of
Yeah,
campus."
right. On that side of campus, even worse,
Right.
right?
So yeah, I believe the black people are on the west side and the white people are on the east side. So there
Oh, segregation.
So there are no colored restrooms in the east wing of NASA. So she has to run across campus, which is a mile away, just to use the bathroom.
You
And
know, we think about this today, and we just think to ourselves how ridiculous that is.
right,
And if you say this to the kids today, it's just like, what? What are you talking
right.
about?
And as she runs to her bathroom, a lot of white eyes are watching her like she is some strange specimen. Every hallway that she runs through, they're like, "Oh, what is this black woman?" Because she's not even supposed to be over there. So they're like, "Why is she over here?"
Right.
Basically, like she should be on the west side with the rest of them. So Catherine tries to save. She's a hard worker. She really is. She tries to save time by doing her work in the bathroom stall because she knows it took her about 45 minutes, well, maybe like 20 minutes to get over there. She gotta go back. So she knows she's gonna
This
be
is so
gone for a
unnecessary,
while.
honestly. I guess when she's doing number two, right?
All right. So while she's gone, Harrison notices that she's gone, and he says something, and Ruth is like, "Oh, where is she? I thought she went to the bathroom." And she's like, "Oh, she's on a break." So she kind of like covers for her, but is also like, "I have no idea where this girl is." But he's annoyed by that. He's like, "We take breaks now?
It
Like, you're
sucks
not
because
allowed to take a break."
it's making her look like a bad worker.
Right. So she runs back in a huff to the East Wing, and Ruth admonishes her for leaving so long because she was noticed. And of course, Paul Stafford is shaking his head like, "Them black lazy bitches."
It's like I knew it.
Right, like she's lazy. So then Catherine ignores it again, very full of poise, doesn't say, "I just want to let you all know I had to go to the bathroom." Like, no, she didn't say that. She's like, whatever, they think what they think. And she goes to make herself a cup of coffee at the shared coffee pot. And Jonathan, what happens? What happens when she goes to make herself a cup of coffee at the
Was it they already had like a separate cup of
No,
they
no,
didn't have
not
it yet.
yet.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so she poured herself a cup of coffee, and people are looking. And it's like what? Why is she drinking from the same coffee that we're drinking? Like, why is she drinking from the same? Well, actually, the mug thing didn't wasn't a thing,
No,
right?
because at that time they were drinking from different water fountains. So for her to think that she could just pick up a mug and drink from the same coffee pot.
Right, the coffee pot, right?
Right. So that's the issue. Okay. So later that night, Catherine delivers the work that she can do to Harrison, and she lets him know that she's not sure about her work, but she doesn't say why. So she's still being noble. She's not ratting, not telling on anyone. She's just like, I couldn't see everything. So he tells her work is obsolete anyway because things change so quickly around there that the numbers have already changed. So she's like, all right, well, I did what I could. Can I go? And he's like, yeah, yeah, go home. And he stays behind after everyone is left because he's a hard worker. He really wants to get these people into space safely there and back. Mary and Dorothy are waiting for Catherine, and they, they seem a little annoyed because she's obviously much later than usual. And the ladies had to wait for her for hours.
Mm.
They talk about their frustrations, like all the women together on the way home. Dorothy is talking about not being promoted or even considered for supervisor, and Catherine about how she's afraid she can't keep up in that room. Like it was a very challenging first day. She's no realizing I'm gonna have to pee, and I'm gonna have to keep doing that.
I
So
mean, she probably dehydrated herself some days.
right, and then
Maybe I should
also
drink water.
like this man hates me for no reason, just other than the fact that I'm a black woman checking his work. So it's gonna be very hard for me to do what I was asked to do. So
Jealous.
right. So Catherine gets home. We can see that her mom takes care of the house and her three daughters while she's at work. She catches up with them. Catherine talks to them about her new job and everything. We also find out that Catherine is a widow. Her kids are sad about how long she's at work because now she is the only parent and now she's always gone. So she explains to them like I have to be your mother and your father because we no longer have dad
Yeah.
taking care of the house. So I have to take this job at NASA and be away a bit. So they also ask about the Russians attacking them because they had to do drills at school. And she calms them down and says it's just a drill. There's nothing to worry about. And then they talk about her going to space, and she's like, I'm going to help them get up there. Like, I'm not going to be an astronaut. But they're like, you should be an astronaut. They're kids. All right. So we go to church, and the pastor he's doing a sermon, but at the end of it, he calls out the women for helping get the men up into space because this is a big deal in the 60s. Everyone cares about the space race, no matter what color you are. That's why they got through with that cop in the beginning of the movie. So he shouts them out from being, mathematicians, engineers, helping people get into space. In this scene, we also meet Mary's husband, Levi, who's played by Aldous Hodge, who Jonathan loves because I like him. I think he's cute.
Alright,
Do you
whatever.
see The Invisible Man? Like, wow.
Yeah,
So anyway,
I don't remember how he looks. I'm sure he's okay. He's a fine,
he's a fine man. He
he's a
is.
fine man, fine young man.
He doesn't agree with her engineering dreams. He feels like she should be more of a woman. He's kind of sexist. He's like, you should be at home taking care of your kids. If anything, if you're going to spend time doing anything important, you should be fighting for basic civil rights. You don't need to be worrying about space and math. Like, ugh. So that we're seeing the sexism that's even happening within the family between black people. So Mary and Dorothy have noticed that Catherine might be a little bit into Colonel Johnson, who's played by Mahershala Ali, and they kind of notice that he seems to be looking her way. So they're encouraging her to go over and talk to him. But she seems very shy. Like she's been married before, like we said, and she's not sure she's ready to dip her toe back into the dating pool. So
Right.
she's kind of nervous. But then Mary takes it in her own hands to say, just come over here. Like come talk to her. Like she's ready for you. So the colonel comes and they take a walk like around the church, like outside the church, and they talk about her work at NASA.
I thought he actually looked her at her direction too,
Yeah,
right?
he's been looking at her through. I
Right.
said it's clear that they both like each
Oh
other.
yeah.
Uh, so he begins to. So they take a walk and they talk about her work at NASA, what she does, and he begins to joke about, I didn't know they let women handle all that stuff. And he immediately sees her face and realizes it's not landing. Like that
Right.
is not a joke. And he tries to clean it up, but he fails. And she basically reads him to filth and tells him how much he knows how to do, and then walks away. And he realizes he blew it.
You
He's like,
should you
God,
should have got some intel from the friend first.
right? Like they take this shit really seriously. Do not joke about that. They already get shit for being black women at NASA, but now they gotta get shit for being women with their black men. It's horrible. Poor things. So I said the astronauts slash Navy and Marine pilots arrive at NASA. So this is where we meet John Glenn. He's played by Glenn Powell, where I saw a fact that John Glenn was like in his 40s at this time.
Wow.
And Glenn Powell, they made him look good. 27-year-old Glenn Powell was playing. And I bet
Definitely
you he's not as
age
attractive
difference.
either. Um, he comes to personally meet the three black women because the white people are taking him down the line to meet all the white people at NASA, but they don't intend to introduce the people who are going to help him get into
Right. So
space
they're supposed to turn right
mathematically.
into the building right
Right.
after the white
They're
people.
like, we have so much to do, Glenn. You don't have to go to them.
Right.
And he's like, no, I got to meet everybody. So I hope that really happened. But like I said,
Right.
they could have added scenes to make some of the white people look good. And this is a hero. This is an American hero. So of course they want to make John Glenn look good. So who knows if this really happened? I hope it
Right.
did.
And the actor too.
Right.
Glenn
Oh
Powell.
yeah,
Like,
make
yeah.
Glenn
I would
Powell
love to do this. It would be
charming.
great. I
Yeah.
don't want to look like a racist
Who would ignore them? Yeah.
pilot.
So Ruth tries to encourage him to move along, like I said, and they have a tight schedule. They got to get moving. And Mitchell wants to know, and then we see Mrs. Mitchell like kind of sticking her head out of the side, like, why is he talking to them?
Right.
Like they're not important. But anyway, so the next day at work,
Well, I mean,
um,
he has to be able to talk
he
to Catherine,
does. He
right?
goes to talk to
Yeah, he's
them.
like, oh, you're definitely are important. You run the numbers, like you're going to be a
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
help
he
to me.
goes to talk to them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he tells them like, oh, you're going to be a huge help.
So we're back in the space task group, and there is now a smaller coffee pot for Catherine, labeled colored. They could have at least said for Catherine. They said
Right.
colored. I
Like,
want it to
as
look
if
like
there's
the
another
water
black person
fountain.
in the room. Like, oh, this is what she's used to. She's just seeing colored.
Right, so she gets it that this is
Or,
not a nice special
or,
thing.
or maybe they didn't even know her name. They're like, I don't know this
Oh,
girl's name.
maybe.
Let's put colored.
Right. So it is now separated from the larger team's coffee pot. So like she has her own little. They have this big behind pot, plugged in, water hot, coffee hot. But her smaller coffee pot is not even plugged in. They could even plug it in for her so that it could be
She
ready to
has
brew
to
the coffee. So she has to do
do
it
it herself.
herself. It's not even filled with the water yet. So we go to Stafford. He's throwing papers on her desk again, and they are redacted again. She retorts and he saying like I can't do the work if I can't see anything. And he calls her like he's like it doesn't really matter because what you're basically doing is a dummy check. Like the work
It's
that you're
not
doing it
important.
doesn't matter. Yeah. So she's like, all right, fine. If I'm a dummy, would a dummy think to do this? And she holds the paper up to the light and she can see what's blacked out.
Ooh.
So once she sees what's blacked out, she goes to the big chalkboard that they have in her room and she begins to work out the equations with what she now knows. We go to where they are working on the IBM machines and we see technicians are loading in these machines, but they don't even fit into the doorway. So they're really struggling with these
All right.
machines. They don't fit so much that they have to hammer the door frame out to get them
It's
in.
like no one measured this.
Nope, no one
And
measured
it's
it.
like, all right,
So
there's
Harrison is
nothing
just
bad.
like, wow, am I working with a bunch of idiots? So Dorothy walks to the East computing room because she's noticed these IBM machines and she's walking there to talk to Mrs. Mitchell, our favorite. All the white women in the room look at her like she's an alien. Like, why is she on the East Side? Why is she here? But she's gone there because she wants to know more about the IBM machines. We saw in the beginning, Dorothy likes to figure things out. She likes to work on things. So she's like, oh, these IBM machines, they don't look like they know what they're doing.
And I think she's aware that she might lose her job. She's like, I need to make myself useful.
Yeah, but I don't think she really knows what they are yet.
I
So
feel
that's
like
why she finds out.
I feel like she's always looking for a way to be useful. Is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. So she finds out that the machine does the work of the computers in half the time. So she's like, oh, like Jonathan said, we're going to be out of work soon. So maybe she's going there just to confirm, like, oh, these are going to put us out of work, which, of course, Mrs. Mitchell says very nonchalantly, like, yeah, like it's going to put y'all out of work. But you know, I'm not going to get rid of the white women. It's going to be y'all first. So we go back to Catherine. Catherine is continuing to work on equations on the board. She finishes and runs to the restroom. She like mic drops. She's like finishes all these calculations on
Right.
the chalkboard and she just runs to the restroom. She's like, I gotta get it. It's gonna take me 45 minutes there and back, so I gotta go.
She's probably doing her little dance, finishing the equation on the ladder. She's
All
like, oh,
right.
I gotta go.
Right. So while she's gone, all the engineers are looking at her work in amazement, and Stafford is reluctant to admit that it's correct.
Right.
Like he's like, nope, those calculations are right.
See, one by one, they just keep trickling in, looking at her calculations, being impressed of her work. And it's like,
Right.
wow.
And then Harrison finally comes out of his office and says, whose work is that? And then Ruth speaks up and says, Catherine. So I don't know if Stafford would have said that. I don't know. Who
I
knows?
mean, like one thing that we always see in stories or in real life, people take credit of other people's work. So that's something else that usually, oh, they actually gave the credit to the person that did the work.
Right. So once Catherine is back from the restroom, she's interrogated. They want to know how she was able to get all the confidential information Stafford blacked out about the Atlas rocket in particular, because that was the part that she wasn't allowed to know, even though obviously it was very important for her to know in order to do the calculations. She admits she held it up to the light, and that's why she was able to see it. And then they ask her if she's a Russian spy because they're like, should we? Basically, I feel like Harrison's asking that to make sure before we allow her to see anything else that might be confidential, she's not
Right.
Russian. But she responds with like, I'm not
Like,
Russian.
do I look Russian?
Obviously, do I sound? Do I look it? Like,
Right.
there might be some black Russians, but
I
what
mean,
are the odds?
to her, she probably doesn't know if there are black Russians either.
Right.
But it was just, I feel like he needed to hear it to justify being like, who cares? Who cares about
Right, and I also
her
asked her, I did my
illness?
due diligence. Let's move on. Harrison asked Stafford to stop redacting things in the file so Catherine can work properly. So now she could do her job. How nice. Um, Dorothy, we're back with Dorothy. She's telling her team that there are these new IBM machines. It's going to put all the human computers out of work. So Dorothy says they have to learn the machine to stay valuable. Very smart woman. She's like, we're gonna have to learn how these work because I can see that the white men don't know how they work, so we can learn so that we can keep our jobs.
And that's what you like to see too. Something you have to help your own.
Right,
Just things are hard.
right. So Mrs. Mitchell walks into the colored lunchroom very aggressively, very angrily, to let Mary know that she doesn't qualify for the engineering training program that she applied to because she needs advanced extension courses to qualify. And that seems to be a new requirement. Like they didn't always need that. So she's just letting her know, like, you're not going to be able to join because you can't do these classes. And Mary says that she's like, it feels like every time we get closer, they move the goalposts farther away.
Right.
Like I thought I had enough to do everything, but now I got to try to take courses at an all-white school.
And it's always
How's
the
that
same
gonna work?
answer. That's just the way things are.
All right, yeah, that's just the way things are. So she denies her application. Later that night, Mary is complaining about how the high school segregated and it's Virginia. Doesn't matter what happened federally. Virginia is not desegregated. So she's not going to be able to take those classes. And Dorothy's like, hey, we're trying to wind down from work. Like, do what you're going to do, petition the court, but let's have fun tonight.
Right. You don't
So
want you
let's
don't
move
want
on.
to be depressed.
Right. So we go back to Dorothy. Dorothy's also, dealing with her own hurdles to make sure she maintains her job. So we see her and her two sons walking past a protest against segregation. And we see specifically, this part always makes me laugh because it's so ridiculous. We see a colored water fountain and the white
Oh,
water fountain, and they're like right next to each other. And a white woman is standing like near the water fountain, the white only water fountain. And a black man comes to his, and she looks at him, grabs her son, and is like, and
poor.
walks away. And I'm like, he's drinking from the fountain. He's still, it's
Right.
not his fault. They put it right next to each other.
Uh,
Like, I guess we're also supposed to wait until they're away from their water fountain so that we can drink from ours.
man. I mean, it's hard living in these times, but to live in those times,
Right,
my mind would explode.
right. So Dorothy is in the white section of the library, and a white woman tells her she needs to get out of the white section. Like, you're not supposed to be in here. You know the rules. We don't want any trouble. And she retorts, like, she's not just walking right out of the section when this white woman comes over. So we see her in the next scene getting escorted out of the library by security guards. So she had to be pulled out of the section. She's like telling her boys because the security officers of course are treating her little boys like men and
Right.
roughing them up kind of like pulling at them. She's like, don't touch them. And then we see them on the bus later.
Oh, I thought he was like, don't, like, she yelled at them, and then she's also like, have a nice day.
Oh yeah, she says
Right,
have a blessed day. She says have a blessed day after yelling at them. Like, don't touch them! Have a
right.
blessed day.
It's like, I want to get hit, please.
Right, please don't hit me. So we also see some more history. She's riding in the back of the bus. They go to the back of the bus, and she tells him, "Separate, but I know it's a law, but separate but not equal is not right. Like, just remember, this is not right. This is
Yeah.
just what is law."
Yeah, I mean,
So,
you see the characters in this movie also, like, they're doing what they can to fight for civil rights.
right. So this is her way of fighting. She pulls out the book that she was taking out of the white section, and it's called Intro to Fortran, which I believe is the tech that is a part of the IBM machine. So she's learning how to use that tech. And the boys are very observant. They know that she got that out of the white section and did not check it out. So she's like, they're like, you stole that book, mom. She's like, I'm not stealing. That library runs with my taxes.
Right.
So technically,
I pay taxes. I pay for this book, so.
right, I paid for this book. Don't worry about it.
Right.
So we go to a kid's birthday party, and the colonel arrives, and Catherine is not thrilled to see him because he disrespected her. She is a lady and a smart one at that. Now we see another scene. This is the same party, but I guess the kids went to bed. They're in the basement, kind of, dancing like adults do, and they're having a good time. And the colonel, again, he's into her. He's like, let me try again. I messed up. I crashed and burned, so he apologizes, and it works this time. She does that whole scene where he's like, I know I messed up. She's like, mm-hmm. And I know that you're very smart. Mm-hmm. Like Taraji P. Henson does that stuff really well.
Right. Continue.
Right. So he
Because
says,
I'm still into you, but I'm not. I'm
right,
not getting my
because
good
she's
side.
dancing with him
Right.
this whole time. But he says all the right things this time, so he's good to go. He's in. So while dancing to the music, an announcement interrupts the radio broadcast, announcing that the Russians, that one Russian in particular, pilot Yuri Gagarin, I forgot to say his name, has made it to space before an American can.
Oh,
So
darn
we
it.
are behind in the space race. Uh, we go back to NASA. The men are watching the newsreel about Russians making it to space first. Harrison and team are disappointed, but Harrison is ready to go. He's like, all right, obviously we're not working hard enough. Like, we have to continue to make this happen. Like, okay, they won. They got there first, but we got to get there. We can't say we couldn't get there. So he lets them know, like, whoever is still going to maintain their position in the space task group are going to stay and work until we're done. But it's up to you. You can just quit if you don't want to do it. Go for it. But if you're staying, you need to call your wives and let them know how it's going to be.
That sucks.
So I pointed out one moment that maybe they were warming up to Catherine a little bit because there's one white guy that hands her the phone. Like, she has a family too. She also has to call her
Yeah,
family
that's
to
true.
let them know that
It's
it was a
a
very small
gesture.
gesture, but they definitely did that for that reason.
The
You
smallest
know,
gestures feel so big
like,
in this
here,
time.
you should call.
Right.
Use the same phone I
It's
used.
like, oh,
Oh, thanks. I do have a family. Thank you.
right.
Um, so we go into a little bit of a montage. We're in the lab. We see Glenn and all the other pilots are training to go to space. Everyone is working hard to get there. Catherine is given piles of paperwork. She's doing them in the restroom since it takes her so long to get there and back. We see men are struggling to set up the IBM machines still. They still don't know how to use them. We see Mary going to court to fight to be in those engineering classes at that all white school. We go back to Dorothy. She's sneaking in the IBM room to begin working on the machine because she had that book. And she's very good at figuring things out. So she's like, I'm ready to put it to the test. We also see her starting to teach her computers how to program the IBM machine. So as she's learning, they're learning so that they can keep their jobs. Because remember, they all got to be smart. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be a computer. So they also know how to do all this stuff. Mary announces to Zelensky that she has a court date. Like, she was able to get her day in court to get to those classes, and they all clap for her. And then we see Dorothy back in the IBM machine room, seemingly understanding the machines better than the white technicians. So, quick montage. Now we go back to the space task group. Harrison comes to Catherine's desk to ask for her work, but she is not there. And this has happened many times because she always has to go to the bathroom. He's annoyed that she seems to never be at her desk. And we cut to her running back for the restroom in the pouring rain across campus.
Of
She
course it's
run,
raining.
huh?
Of course it's raining.
Right. She doesn't have an umbrella. She runs back, so she's soaked. She runs back to her desk, and everyone is waiting for her to arrive, including Harrison. He yells at her, like, every time I come to your desk and I need you, you're never where I want you to be. And then she explains that the bathroom is really far away. She's yelling at this point. She's like gotten to her, she's probably tired, working hard, just as everybody else. And now she has to run a mile to get to the restroom and come back there. So she's yelling when she's saying this is the big, like Taraji P. Henson should have been nominated for an
Yeah.
Oscar scene. Like this is
She did it
the
very well.
monologue. She's explaining that the bathroom is far away, that she has to go across campus because there's no colored bathroom for her there. She gathers them up with a riveting speech. She's coming at them for the coffee pot situation. She's coming at them for the dress code being that women should wear pearls, but she doesn't get paid enough to get pearls. She
Right.
talks about how she can't use the bikes to bike across campus,
Mm.
so that's why she has to run. And then after all that, getting out all the uncomfortable information that most white people, even though they want the injustice to happen, they don't want to see it happening. So they're uncomfortable. They're like, oh.
It's like,
So she
like
leaves work.
hearing it, they're
Right.
thinking to themselves like, yes, this is what's happening.
Right. As long as they don't have to see it. Like
Right.
they don't have to
Mm.
like be cognizant of what's actually going on because most white people feel like they're like well meaning, but when they actually hear what things are put into place that are making people's lives harder, it makes you feel bad.
Yeah. Anyone watching the scene, I'm sure, like, is always you always hear that silence, like after she says everything, like I work like a dog day and night, and she just
And I
feels like,
work like a dog day and night.
right? And it's just like everyone who watches it should think like, damn, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
All right. So she leaves work early after that. I guess she's like, I'm done. After yelling at them, they all stare after her like, yeah, we did change that coffee pot out. So let's get into the white savior moment.
Right.
Once Catherine has left the room, Harrison looks very pensively like, what? You guys changed out the coffee pot? Or maybe I just never
Like, you
noticed.
telling me she could have done more work?
Right. If we So Harrison he dramatically pulls the colored sticker off the coffee pot. And then he goes, we don't know how he gets there, we don't know how long it takes, but he goes to the west side of the campus. I don't know why he doesn't just stay on the east side and knock the white sign off. Maybe he did it in a
Yeah,
different
so
scene,
stupid.
but he went to the east side
It's
or the
about
west side.
right. It's about the movie. We actually have to see the color sign being knocked down with a hammer. They're not gonna have a colored sign in the side of the campus where there isn't a colored
So he
bathroom.
he took the same route as Catherine
Well,
without the bike and ran to the to the
God.
west side.
What when I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself like, I'm like, damn, he's knocking down the color sign. They can't even go to the bathroom in their own building.
I'm like, Jonathan, shut up, yo. Shut up. But yes, while a group of
Oh
black
God.
computers are standing watching it, including Catherine, he's dramatically has his hammer and he's knocking down the color sign like, now you could go wherever you want, preferably closest to your desk. And then he walks away.
Tionni also mentioned while watching this, like I'm pretty sure it's law. It's the bathroom has to be segregated. You can't share the bathroom. But
I mean, I didn't say that. I don't care.
I thought you mentioned. Oh well.
I mean, it is law, but I don't care.
No, I'm just saying like, but in this like Tiana says, a white savior.
Oh, saying like he could have gotten in trouble because he
Right, he
like
probably
forced
could have gotten in
them.
trouble if this is actually.
But he's a white man.
you know,
He knew.
But like
He
in
was gonna get in
NASA,
trouble.
screw that. Go to the bathroom wherever you please.
He's like the boss of all bosses at NASA. So fun fact. You ready, Jonathan? You ready for this fact?
Go
The
for it.
issue with the bathrooms was not something Katherine Johnson personally experienced. It was encountered by Mary Jackson instead. In fact, it was this incident as a result of Jackson ranting to a colleague, which got her moved to the wind tunnel team. Johnson was initially unaware that the east side bathrooms were even segregated and used the unlabeled whites only bathrooms for
Oh.
years before anyone complained. When she simply ignored the complaint, the issue was dropped completely. So this scene was completely made up.
I mean, I feel like us watching it. I know I felt that way, where I'm like, did this really happen? And I feel like this is like implanted into the movie just to have a moment,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean, like I said, it happened to Mary Jackson,
Right.
but they were like, "Ooh, let's take that story and make it Catherine's because she's the lead."
Which does add to the story. Like I get
Yeah, it
it.
does. It definitely does. It's a
And again,
big turning point.
it's a
Yeah,
drama documentary. It's
right.
just
It's
I
just funny
gotta.
that they were like, she was like, "Oh,
Right.
the bathroom wasn't labeled because we weren't supposed to be over there anyway." So they didn't even label the bathroom.
I
So I
mean,
just used it, and one day somebody complained, but then they were like, "Catherine's doing the work we need, so shut up."
it definitely made a really good scene for Catherine. Honestly,
It did.
definitely was impactful with that speech
No,
of
I
her,
get why they
especially.
put it in the movie. It's
Right, right.
just to let you know they
No,
put.
yeah, I feel like we both felt like that definitely not probably different. Definitely didn't happen the exact way. You know?
All right, quick romance. We now know Catherine and the Colonel are dating. He comes over to take care of her fighting the flu, which is just to let you know this is the real thing. All right, get back to the movie. Launch day. We are on to astronaut Alan Shepard and the Freedom 7. He lands 35 miles off the coast of Florida, and this mini launch to space was successful. I don't think he went to space like a little
It was
bit.
probably just getting like across like the
He
atmosphere.
wasn't doing
I don't
like
think.
orbits or
Yeah, I don't
anything
think
like
he
that.
actually. I'm not sure. Like you said, it's a mini launch, right?
Yeah.
It probably gets near space.
Right. So they plan for the next big launch with Glenn to space, but they all get a little break for family. Like they're able to go, like Catherine has time to date. So the reason why I mention this is because I'm an idiot and I love this part with Colonel Johnson and Catherine. And they're dating and they're washing dishes. He's like, "It's high time I
Uh,
kiss you, Catherine." I was just like, "That's so old."
it is high time.
It's
Does he say
high
high
time
time?
I kissed you, Catherine. All right. So anyway, I just had to get that out there. So they kissed. Mary Jackson. We go to Mary Jackson. She's in court. She's trying to convince the judge to be allowed to take those classes at that segregated white high school. He seems like he's a typical like, racist white judge. He doesn't really want to allow it. But she's like, you know what? I
She
know
needs a
how
baby
to
kiss.
appeal to him. I know how to appeal to him. Let me kiss his ass. So she asks to approach the bench, and there she convinces him that you were the first judge to do this. You were the first person to do that. Don't you want to be the first person to allow a black woman to go to a school and be go down on the right side of history? So she basically was like, "You're gonna be the good guy in this situation. You're gonna go down the history books as the person that allowed me to do this so that I could be the engineer that I could be."
It's like I
So he's
can do
like, "You know
that.
what? I do want to do that. I do want to be known for
Like,
goodness."
that is a good point.
Right. So he agrees for her going only to night classes. She can't go
All
during.
right.
She can't be seen during the day,
Right.
but we could try
I
night.
gotta put my foot down somewhere.
Right. So she shouts in celebration outside the courthouse because she is now on track to sign up for those engineer training programs. Um,
Suck at everyone else.
right. So Catherine is finishing her calculations and reports, and she puts Paul Stafford's name and herself as the author of those reports. Catherine requests to join the meetings where they can chat and get more real time updates about Glenn's trajectory.
Which makes sense.
She is convinced that she can invent the math for his orbit with that information if she's getting it in real time. Stafford, at this time, she's only asking Stafford, which I don't even know why she thinks Stafford is going to say yes.
Go over his head, yo. Go
Right.
to the boss.
Yeah, right. So Stafford scoffs at her ever being allowed in those meetings, and but I think Harrison is like agrees to allow her to work on the new math since she seems confident that she can create something new to solve this problem. Once Stafford gets a look at the report she hands him, she's like, "Wait, you put your name on this?" And he's like, "Computers don't author reports," and he gives it back to her to like remove it. He won't. He's not going to move forward with the two of their names on there. And
Wow.
she still put his name first, when technically she should be putting her name first.
Right.
But he was like, "I don't want your name on here at all." All right, so we go to the next launch with the next pilot, and this is Grissom, and it was not successful. The capsule was lost in the ocean. I assume he survived.
I mean,
But they
yeah,
didn't
right.
really say it, but they said it was lost in
Yeah,
the ocean.
I probably should have looked that up.
We could have looked it up. I don't
Yeah,
think he died. Wouldn't they
right.
have made a bigger deal
Yeah,
about it if he died?
I think so.
Yeah. So Congress, but this is still scary because they're about to try to put Glenn up into space. So
Right,
Congress is like questions Harrison, like how's the Glenn launch going to be successful if you can't even solve these mini launches?
right.
And Harrison convinces them that it will work because it has to work. Okay.
That's convincing.
So we go back to Stafford. He's like holding court like in that space test group room talking about the issues that they have with the last launch and how they can't have that happen with Glenn, and he's going over the math and how they have to create like the math that they have to create in order to get the capsule back down from space. He's explaining the go no go. Basically, if they bring Glenn in too fast, he burns up on reentry, and if he comes in too soon, he just goes off into
Right,
space.
space, right.
So bad, both bad options. You gotta figure that out.
Gravity's it's quite a B.
Right. So, Catherine politely keeps interrupting his like talk to ask very smart questions that seem to annoy him. Like he's like, "Yes, we have to do that." Like, but it's just a cute way to show that she's like her mind is like working,
Right.
like trying to
So,
figure it
right,
out.
right. So you're saying we have to go to the optical to the orbitals. All right.
Right? Yeah,
Cool.
you know, it's just smart shit. We don't. But Catherine then asked Stafford if she could again join the Pentagon meetings to get the numbers and the calculation updates in real time. Of course, Stafford denies her request and tells her to calculate what she can without that information. You just got to figure it out because you're not coming in this meeting. We go back to Dorothy. She gets the IBM machines to work, and as she's getting them to work, the technicians burst in and ask her what the hell she's doing in there. How dare this black woman touch these machines? And the other technician alerts the other technician. So there's like a technician by the machine looking at numbers being written while the other technician is like, "Why are you in here?" And then the other technician's like, "We got numbers." And then he runs over there like, "What, we do?" And he's like, "What did you say your name was?" And she's like, "Dorothy Vaughn." And then what does he say?
I don't remember.
"Yes, you are." No.
That's what I thought she said. That's what
I
I
was,
thought he said. I thought
I was
it's
laughing at
when she says that her name is Dorothy Vaughn. I thought the guy that was checking the numbers.
responds like,
He's like,
"Yes,
yes,
you
you are.
are." Like I was like,
No,
"No." He repeats her name,
he's like
Dorothy
Dorothy
Vaughn.
Vaughn.
"Yes, you
Like,
are."
like he's just the guy instantly into her. I'm like, oh,
No, well,
it's
I
Dorothy
mean,
Vaughn.
genius is smart, but he's more like, "Wow, she made it work. Something that we could not do for months."
Yes, you are.
Okay. Yes, you are a genius. That's what
Uh,
he's saying.
right.
We go back to Catherine. She's handing Stafford the latest report, and he tells her again, because she did it again, she cannot author a report. And as well as this data is out of date. And this frustrates her because she's like, okay, I keep telling you I need to go in the room because by the time I do all this work, and this is like 500 pages,
Right.
and he's handing it back to her like, do this again. This means nothing. And also don't put your name on my
Like
shit.
her calculators will always be out of date.
Right. So Catherine again says, I want to join the meeting, so I'm getting those real time updates. And he says there is no protocol for women attending the Pentagon meeting, and that's just the way things are. So here we go. That's like a running theme. That's just the way things are.
Right.
So Catherine does yet another report. She gets scolded by Stafford for adding her name as an author. And then finally it gets so heated, like, because they're right outside the Pentagon meeting. And so Harrison realizes he's seeing the back and forth and he's like, can we just get these reports so we could go to the meeting? What are you guys doing? So Harrison notices this hubbub happening in the hallway and he interrupts. And Catherine asks him, like, can I attend these briefings? I need to be in there. And Stafford insists that she does not have the credentials and that she is a woman, so she can't go in. Catherine insists that she needs to know what's happening to be accurate in her computing. Harrison's like, you know what? Come on in. Because he's like trying to get work done. He's like,
Yeah.
forget about racism and sexism. We
We
need
are
to.
in a race. We
Right,
have
this
to
is a race,
We have to
Stafford.
not look bad compared to the Russians.
Right. Like, why are we caring about women versus men and black versus white? It's so stupid. So she enters the room, and of course, everyone stares at her because it's a room full of high-powered white men. So they're like, "Oh, okay." But she moves through the room and it's fine. Harrison has to ask a question that, okay, so he introduces her obviously to the room, and then he asks a question that Stafford stutters on. I think he asked about calculations of how for him to re-enter or whatever. And Catherine answers like she's like doesn't answer right away because she's like, "Am I allowed to speak?" But she knows the answer. She's
Right.
like, "All right, I'm gonna answer because you clearly don't know Stafford because Stafford is seen like going through his papers like."
Right.
So one of the men then asked for the calculation of the go no go, and then Harrison's like, "You know what, Catherine, take a crack at it. Go write it on the board and show everybody what you do."
I'm sure Stafford was hoping to himself like, I hope she fails.
Right. But she goes right there to the chalkboard, figures it out right there in the meeting as they're watching her write all these calculations on the board like she was like a kid back in school. And she's showing all her work and how she got there. She's saying it out loud as she's doing it. And it obviously impresses the men, most importantly, John Glenn, who's the one whose life is being put at risk. So that's like the first time he's feeling confident that he won't die. We go back to Harrison, who's checking on the IBM machines. The lead technician lets them know that they need more manpower and technicians to work with these IBM machines. So Mitchell hands Dorothy a new assignment to help with the IBM machines because she's night. Luckily, the men were honest and they let her know that Dorothy was the reason why they were able to
Right.
figure it out in the first place. So once she gets this assignment, because I think it's literally just for Dorothy, like it's not for the rest of the team. She acquires about the future of her team and the computing program as a whole, and Mitchell lets them know that they plan to dissolve the entire department. We don't need it anymore because we have these machines computing all the
Right.
data. So Dorothy, again, she doesn't let up. She says, "I'm not going to go to this IBM assignment if I can't bring my girls," which is very noble. She could have been like, "All right, well, I'm safe."
But she mentioned she's also been training them, like they know how to do
No,
it.
yeah, I
The
think
girls are
she says
up to
they're
it. It's
ready.
like my girls are up to it.
My
Type
girls are
thing,
up
yeah.
to it. They're ready. So nobody knows how to use those machines but Dorothy in team. So
Right.
Mitchell has no choice but to let her bring them. She's like, "We're not gonna fire you because you're
Yeah.
not
It's like,
letting up."
well,
So
I guess we're already paying you now. I guess we
right,
could pay you for a little longer.
right. So the ladies head over to the East Wing to the IBM machines, and we see all them walking in a line to the East Wing, and all the white people are like, "What's going on?
Well,
Why are they here?"
these small wins matter.
Right. First the bathrooms and now this. Um, so Mary prepares to go to her night classes. This is her big moment. As her husband Levi is looking on, and he is there with a peace offering. Before he was kind of like, "This is stupid. You're wasting your time. Be a civil rights activist and a mom, not an engineer." But I guess her getting that court date and being able to single-handedly integrate a white school
Yeah.
kind of showed him like, "Oh wow, like this is real."
This is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it.
Right. So in her own way, she is moving civil rights forward,
Yeah.
just in her own way. So he gives her words of motivation and apologizes and tell her she's gonna make a great engineer, and he apologizes for being an asshole about it. So she has her mechanical pencils. Mary then enters the class, and of course, it's a whole bunch of white men. So they're looking at her surprised, like, "Why is she in this class?" You think they would have warned them, right? Like, "Don't act crazy. There's a black woman on her way." Like, she's coming. And the
Yeah.
teacher also looks like, "What?" And he says, "This class wasn't designed to teach a woman." Like, what are you guys talking about?
So,
Balls?
like, what the right? Like, what are lesson plans for women?
We're gonna have to erase all those
What are you talking
misogynistic
about?
things we talk about.
Yeah, right. Does he start? Does he say some like really
He's
masculine?
using like real world problems that are like very like male driven. I don't know. It's stupid.
They talk about being with women in the
Right.
class. Like,
So
like,
Mary sits down. Mary sits down right in the front anyway. She's like, "I don't care. This is the class that I'm meant to be in. So whatever." We go back to Catherine. She's going over calculations for the orbit. Harrison suggests that maybe it's not new math that they need, and Catherine agrees and finishes his sentence and says maybe it's old math.
oh yeah.
Like the
Oh,
Euler method, Jonathan. That's what I
yeah.
was thinking the whole movie. I was like, why
Of
don't you use
course.
the Euler method?
I mean, if new math is not working, let's try old math.
Right. So Catherine finds a book on Euler and begins utilizing it, and it works for the orbit plan.
Yeah,
Perfect.
these lines are being said to us like it matters. Like,
Right?
oh,
Like,
of course.
Euler!
Yes.
God,
Oh.
duh! So we go back to Dorothy. She's now in what used to be the whites only restroom because we see Mitchell's in there. So now they're being forced to share the same restroom. Oh, damn. That sucks. So Mitchell acknowledges that she's doing great work. She's hearing from everybody that the machines are working and like you're doing so well that do you mind if I bring some of my girls to learn it, meaning white girls? And she's like, "Well, that's the decision of a supervisor." She's like, "I'm not the supervisor, bitch." So Mitchell insists that after hearing that, like she's like, "Oh, she's still a little salty about
Right.
that." I was trying to do the wedding singer line. Oh, serious thing.
Shut the door in their face.
So Mitchell insists that she had nothing against the black women, and this is Jonathan's favorite line.
Right.
I know, I know, you probably believe that. So I wanted to jump into a fun fact. Paul Stafford and Vivian Mitchell are not based on real people. Instead, both characters are composites of different team members who worked at NASA, intended to represent the dismissive attitudes held by some of the white coworkers during this period. So they're fake.
Makes sense.
But I was hoping, like, not hoping, but I was thinking that Stafford was at least real.
I mean, I feel like, yeah. I guess you could say that for both characters. I feel like they would exist.
Right. But I guess they were just like put together, like, let's just make two people on both sides who are trying to hold them back.
Right.
All right. Well, back at Catherine's home, Colonel Johnson proposes to Catherine with her mom and daughters present at the dinner table, and she accepts. So her life is moving forward, and she's finding love and finding acceptance at her job and excelling. So she's having a good life right now. I think I saw a fact that like all the girls, they're like little girls, the daughters, but I read that all of them were like teenagers by the time she got married to Colonel Johnson.
Oh my God.
So they definitely made them younger, I guess, for effect.
That yeah, they should have actually made them teenagers. That also
Yeah.
would make more sense.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
Oh, whatever.
Whatever, who cares? So Harrison calls Catherine to his office to tell her she's being reassigned due to the IBM machines doing their jobs. Like they're supposed to calculate faster than a computer, a human computer. So why would we have a computer department? Why would we need you if we could just use IBM? So she is no longer needed in their department because she wasn't a part of the group learning the IBM machines. She was with them. So she's asked to leave and she must report back to the West Wing. And he's sad. He's like she's good. She's contributed to the department, and now just unceremoniously before we even get them into space, we're just getting rid of her. So he apologizes for letting her go. Then we cut to Catherine gets married to Jim Johnson, Colonel Jim Johnson. And then we go to February 20th, 1962, which is
Last day.
launch day, John Glenn's launch day. So these were very big deals back in the day. Obviously, this one would be because it's the big launch for the first time. And everyone gathers around the TV in the West Wing. So all the black computers are gathered around the TV. And you would assume that everyone in the country is watching this.
Yeah, I'll tune in.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, this is the first time ever that
Right.
someone's going to space, of course. So Harrison tells Stafford that the landing coordinates from yesterday don't match the coordinates today. So obviously the IBM machines are not reliable. They have messed up. They call Glenn and they tell him that the IBM machine is not working, and Glenn is like, "You need to find Catherine."
Yeah,
'Cause-
this is like one thing, like one part of the movie. I'm like, I hope this is true. I mean, this would be cool. This would be like that guy remembers this, that she's ridiculously smart. We got
I will
her,
tell
or-
you if it's true. Jonathan,
Yeah.
is it true? Did it happen?
I don't think it did.
He asked her to check the numbers, and if she checks them, then he is good to go. Like he feels confident that he will not die, or the likelihood of him dying is lower. So they send the young white boy that we see throughout the movie named Langley to do the same route that Catherine did every day to the bathroom to get those coordinates. So she begins working on the numbers while he waits, and we see Glenn preparing the launch. and Catherine is still working on the numbers. Glenn keeps asking about the numbers because he's like literally boarding the shuttle, but there's still no updates. Catherine finally finishes and runs over to the East Wing with Langley, so together they do that run to deliver the coordinates. They get there, and Catherine is shut out of the room. They just take her work and they just close the door. And then Catherine walks away like, oh, and that's how they always treat us, whatever.
Right.
And as she's walking away, who comes out but the white savior himself, Harrison. He comes out, he calls her with credential in hand and tells her to come in. He calls Glenn to let her know that she calculated some new coordinates that are more accurate, and he even mentions that she managed to get more exact decimals to where to re-enter. So the number is more exact than a computer. So he's thrilled to hear it because he's like, I don't want to die. So that's great. Fun fact. Astronaut John Glenn did specifically request that Katherine Johnson review all the calculations for the Friendship 7 mission. His dialogue is based on NASA transcripts before he could be confident enough to proceed, but which in reality occurred they worded this really weird, but in reality it occurred a few weeks before launch, not as depicted in the film whilst awaiting the launch. So like,
which makes it way more like sense. It's just logical.
That thick book of calculations she did in like 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. And so I bet you Katherine Johnson was like, watching the movie like, you made me look good, but
as you were reading those, I read that fact, and I was thrilled to see that John Glenn did specifically request Katherine Johnson.
That's awesome.
So
yeah.
That to me, I'm like, yes. I mean, this man knows what's what.
He's like, but again, we're back to, it's not about racism or sexism. It's about being successful and surviving. Like what? You're gonna let yourself die because you're racist? Let Stafford calculate it.
There would be people that would do that.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. But these people are like, we're just all trying to succeed in the same thing. Right. Like, this is dumb. So in Katherine Johnson's calculations, more realistically took still just 3 days to confirm. So she did it in 3 days. But it did not happen while he was taking the elevator up to the... They kill me. Hollywood.
Oh, drama.
Right. Glenn launches in the Friendship 7. Everything seems successful so far, but he has to make 7 orbits. So that's the thing. Like, maybe if he just went up there and made 1 orbit and came right back, it would have been fine. But he has to make 7 complete orbits. I'm guessing the Russians did that, or maybe less. So you see everyone closing up shop for the day, getting ready to go for work, because it takes a while for him to make that many orbits. So they're not going to sit there and watch it forever. Mrs. Mitchell comes in to let Dorothy know before she leaves that she is now supervisor. She pulled some strings, got her the job, and she and her team now have a permanent assignment with the IBMs. Yay!
All right.
Mrs. Mitchell did a good deed. Yay! She had to feel better after that line, because that line was rough. I'm sure you probably believe that, or whatever she said.
I love that. Yeah, I do love that line.
She was like, "Oh, I put that battery in her back." She was like, "Oh, I gotta fix this."
What's that?
Fake Mrs. Mitchell, apparently. Glenn starts to have problems with the heat shields in one of his orbits, and the news reports that the Friendship 7 is in danger of losing the heat shield. Without the heat shield, Jonathan, what happens if the heat shield's not working or is not there?
He'll burn.
Yeah, he won't be able to. He'll burn.
Yeah,
He won't be able to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere. So everyone is seen looking into the sky to see if Glenn makes it, or hopefully we're not seeing a capsule just fall out to the sky like they're all in flames. Glenn is a fireball of a capsule, though. We see in space, there's fire all around him, and because he's starting to re-enter.
Right.
So everyone is silently looking up in the sky, waiting for a glimpse of it. Like, how is it coming back here? Is he gonna be alive? Back in the control room, they keep calling for the Friendship 7 to make sure he's still alive, because they gave him some directives of what to do to, like, override the heat shield and do something to help him. And Glenn comes back after a long, pregnant pause. Like, it's like, uh-oh, did he die? Who knows if that really happened? Again, Hollywood, who knows? He lands safely in the waters of the Bahamas at Catherine's exact coordinates.
I'll probably stay at the Bahamas, but I'll be right here.
All right. So Harrison commends her work and asks her if she thinks they can get to the moon. And she says some corny line like, "We're already there, sir." And that's the end of the plot. They give us an epilogue. They say the Friendship 7 mission propelled NASA to the moon in 1969. So what is that, 8 years later? They go to the moon.
I forgot what you said.
1961.
Okay.
And also, I don't know if it, oh, 1962
I thought so.
was the
All right.
launch. Yeah. So Mary Jackson became NASA's and America's first female African American aeronautical engineer. Dorothy Vaughan became NASA's first African American supervisor. As a Fortran specialist, she was regarded as one of the most brilliant minds at NASA. Catherine went on to perform calculations for the Apollo 2 mission to the moon and the space shuttle. In 2016, NASA dedicated the Katherine G. Johnson Computation Building in honor of her groundbreaking work in space travel. At the age of 97, Catherine was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Fact, Katherine Johnson also helped to calculate the trajectory for, I said Apollo 2. I think it's 11. I don't know. I saw 2 like that and 11. I think it's 11. What is it, Jonathan? Is it 11 or 2?
I would say it has to be 11.
Okay, whatever. So she, like I said, she calculated the trajectory for Apollo in 1969 to the moon. And when the mission to the Apollo 13 was aborted, her work on backup procedures and charts helped set a safe path for the crew's return to Earth. Did you ever see the movie Apollo 13?
I did a long time ago with Tom Hanks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably seen it once. I have to rewatch
Did
it.
they mention Catherine charting a safe path for the crew's return to Earth?
I would have watched that movie right after this episode just to see what people did.
Probably not. Anyway, it wasn't important how they made it home. So her charting that path created a 1-star observation system that would allow astronauts to determine their location with accuracy. That sounds really fucking important, but I'm sure it's not in that movie. So at the time of this movie, she was 97, like I said, but she died on February 24th, 2020 at 101 years old. That's
Wow.
crazy.
I hope to reach 100.
Yeah, 101, Jonathan. She gave you one more year after that.
Right.
All right, Jonathan. That's the movie. Let's get into our final thoughts. So, John, is this movie a go or no go?
It's a
Please
go.
let me know how you rate the film's rewatchability, character development, plot, and entertainment factor out of 5 IBM machines.
You want to go first for your ratings?
All right, I just asked you.
All right, fine. All right, so for rewatchability, so we're rating our scores now. We're gonna be more focused on what exactly we're rating and how we rate it, and get the average score, right? So for rewatchability, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It's just I love the movie. I definitely watch it every year, and I even use it for my history class because when we like the week where we kind of going into transition for Black History Month, we go into Women History Month. So I feel like it's the best time to show that. And I make an assignment and try to give my students like something to have like some type of pride in, And the character development, I give it a 3. The reason I give it the character development a 3 is because it's just like it's I don't know, it's just to me it just seems too like
It's very 2D.
dramatized for just for like just to have like something to add to the movie. I don't know. It just felt fake to me at some points. Yeah, I feel like it also affects the characters. The plot and originality, I give it a 4, and entertainment factor, I give it a 3. It's not gonna be the most entertaining movie, so the final score was gonna be 3.5.
Okay. Wow, how dare you say it's not entertaining? For rewatchability, I give it 5. I rewatch this movie every year for Black History Month. It's a very simple and informative movie to watch, and all kids should watch this movie for Black History Month. Character development, I also give it a 3. Not too much character development. Catherine does stand up more for herself towards the end, but she seems to always be like that. Like she's just a poised woman who bides her time. Like she does what she needs to do. If she has to address it, she will. So all the women seem to always be amazing as they are from the beginning. There's nothing much that changes. Like they're all pretty much the same. And I won't say like the white people learn something new at the end. Like no. Um, Plot originality, I gave it a 3. I mean, the plot is also very simple. Again, I love the story and learning about these three genius black women, but it's an easy storyline. Like it's a very simple storyline. The story and the history is special, but the the plot of the movie is pretty basic. Like it's just telling the story of what happened, basically.
Yeah.
Entertainment factor, I give it a 5. There is something to be said about a simple, entertaining movie.
Okay.
The script is all the right notes. You get that intense dramatic scene or intense dramatic scenes, multiple scenes that depict injustice, and then the final answers to that injustice. You get the riveting monologues. You get those savior moments that we talked about that make you feel. You get the punchy lines towards the racist whites, like the line Jonathan likes, and then you get the grand, successful, satisfying finale. So that is why the movie is good, because you're learning awesome, amazing information about these women that you've never heard of, and then you're hitting all the beats of an entertaining movie along with that. So, final score, I give it a 4. Hidden Figures never leaves you wanting more. It delivers sharp historical drama, real conflict, and just enough romance to round it out. The story is straightforward, but it still keeps you locked in, even though we already know how these real events turned out. 4 out of 5 IBM machines.
I totally agree with what you say about the plot originality. The reason I give it a 4 for plot originality is because I just feel like not many stories like these are being told. So I feel like that makes it original. Its own right.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
That made me look bad. I mean, what's your point? I'm just kidding. All right. Last but not least, we are going to leave you with a segment called DVD Extras, a nostalgic ode to those deleted scenes and bonus features on the now little used movie watching format. Here we will just give you recommendations on another movie you could watch if you just finished watching Hidden Figures. So the one I picked, I actually haven't seen it in a while, but it is a good movie. It is a star turn for Chadwick Boseman and 42. He plays a lot of historical figures, but this is like the first one I want to say that he does. I think it's 42. Get on Up, James Brown story, and then he does Marshall, Thurgood Marshall. So I think this was the first biopic he did, and obviously it's about Jackie Robinson being the first Negro. I don't like saying that, but the first black man in the major leagues. Major League Baseball specifically. So if you're into another biopic about an incredible black person overcoming the odds, dealing with racial injustices, 42 would be a good companion piece.
Okay. I mean, I actually struggle trying to think of a movie that would be a good companion piece. I was trying to think of like movies that go with mathematics.
Okay.
But to me, it should stay with being this theme of black historical figures. Malcolm X would be a good companion piece. But if you think about math, I was thinking like A Beautiful Mind or Good Will Hunting. Or,
okay.
things
Yeah.
like that. If you want to stay with Black History Month, just try to look for a good story about a good black historical figure.
We made it to the credit sequence. Thank you so much for listening to the 40th episode of 2 Tickets, 1 Theme. We hope you're excited to have us back and enjoyed our first traditional episode of the new year, meaning that we've been re-releasing a lot of stuff for like a month. I hope that this video portion works out. We're trying something new where you could actually see our faces and hear us talk, at the same time. So we hope that works out. We can't wait to come back with another episode for Black History Month. We're going to do one more, and we'll just surprise you with that. We're not going to tell you. Please follow us on our Instagram page at 2 Tickets, 1 Theme. You can follow Jonathan at jmanzano1989, and you can follow me at TioniWA. Please follow and rate our podcast on Apple and Spotify. Thank you, and see you for the next episode.